Alex felt trapped in his 9 to 5 office job, crunching numbers. Day after monotonous day, he yearned for something more fulfilling than spreadsheets and meetings. Through deep self-reflection, Alex identified his core values: creativity, adventure, and making an impact. He realized he needed to radically change his path to align with what matters most. Alex found inspiration in legends like Robin Hood, who boldly lived by his moral code. He decided to channel his long-suppressed passion into photography, booking spontaneous weekend trips to capture nature's beauty. Alex also began volunteering at a local nonprofit, regaining purpose through serving others. With each new value-aligned experience, he woke up more inspired and determined to live life to the fullest. Join Alex on his journey of self-discovery as we explore the art of living out of your values through creative enrichment, adventure, and service. How can we break free of the monotony to fearlessly pursue what makes life worth living, like the heroic outlaw, Robin Hood? At first glance, providing value seems straightforward. Give people what they want, but there are nuances to truly enacting this mindset shift. Don't succumb to the temptation of giving value based on our desires. The focus should be on the recipient's needs. Provide value that aligns with their values, not ours. Second, avoid treating people as mere transactions. The goal is enriching lives, not exploiting people's needs for personal gain. Give generously, not in expectations of reciprocity. Third, provide value proactively, not just reactively. Be proactive in giving rather than waiting to be asked. Surprise and delight people by offering value. Finally, stay patient. The impacts of providing value compounds. Focus on consistency, not immediacy. A single act of service may inspire someone years later. At its core, providing value means uplifting others through empathy, compassion, and kindness. By giving selflessly, we can positively influence individuals and communities. As Winston Churchill stated, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. This approach builds trust and rapport. When we add value, others are more receptive to us. When we provide value to someone, they are more likely to trust us and be more receptive to our message. Second, it creates goodwill. By focusing on giving rather than taking, we create a positive impression that can lead to future opportunities. Like social entrepreneur Muhammad Yunus, pioneer micro-lending to provide economic opportunity for those in poverty. When we focus on empowering versus exploiting people, both sides benefit. Value extends beyond personal gain. It's about the feeling of worth we experience when we receive something valuable. And it's not just the material goods. Anything that brings us happiness, fulfillment, or a sense of connection can be helpful. It promotes goodwill in society, a contagion that spreads. When we provide value to others, we are just not giving them something. We are giving them a piece of ourselves. We are showing them we care and want to improve their lives. In turn, they often reciprocate by doing the same for us. An old saying goes, the world gives to the givers and takes from the takers. This is true on a micro scale and a macro scale. A given-based world can be remarkable. Finally, it simply feels good. Helping others is its own reward. When people consider providing value to others, they'll feel happier and more fulfilled. It's a win-win. While there are many ways to give value to others, delivering high-quality content and information is the most effective. When we create something that others find helpful or interesting, they will be more receptive to our message. What explains the wide-ranging benefits of giving? The act of helping others releases dopamine, creating a helper's high. It provides a sense of purpose and fosters human connection. Studies reveal volunteers experience greater well-being and less depression. Generous people are more socially integrated and less isolated. In short, giving makes us happier and healthier. By contributing value, we realize our lives matter beyond ourselves. It satisfies the soul's yearning for purpose. Even minor acts of kindness sparks a butterfly effect, benefiting the giver and receiver. The butterfly effect concept stems from the idea that small causes can have large effects. This metaphor describes how a butterfly flapping its wings in one locale could influence weather patterns far away through a ripple effect. In human behavior, our actions can create cascading impacts beyond what we perceive. Even small acts of kindness or generosity have the potential to inspire others and spread positivity in ways we don't realize. Providing value to others sets off a butterfly effect by influencing the recipient's mindsets and behaviors for the better. We may motivate them to pay it forward and share value with people they encounter. Just as negativity breeds more negativity, kindness sparks greater kindness. If we smile or do something nice for someone, it might make their day and lead them to make better choices that will benefit their family, neighbors, and community. We can't always follow the waves, but the psychological benefits go far beyond the person who gave and received the gift. Understanding this butterfly effect highlights how providing value has implications beyond just our own well-being. Our actions serve a greater purpose of elevating society when we focus on giving value versus taking it. Small acts of good can snowball into powerful forces of positive change. By understanding the psychology of value, we can create values that foster and grow social norms perceived as worthwhile. The legendary outlaw, Robin Hood, sacrificed much to provide value to the poor and oppressed. Robin stole from the rich and gave to the poor, redistributing resources at great personal risk to counter injustice in his land. He and his merry men displayed courage and perseverance in the face of corruption. Robin Hood's generous acts brought him psychological fulfillment along with helping others. Modern science confirms what history's heroes displayed, that living your values tap into our natural human inclination for compassion and unity. The legendary folk hero Robin Hood embodied many of the core values we'll now discuss: honesty, courage, and compassion. Alec's journey mirrors the legendary Robin Hood, a heroic outlaw driven by his moral code to provide value to the poor and oppressed. Robin Hood and his merry men sacrificed much to provide value to the less fortunate. They courageously stole from the corrupt rich and gave generously to the poor, sharing resources at great personal risk of countering injustice in their land. Robin won Maid Marian's love not through riches but through selfless acts of kindness and bravery, and his band inspired common folks to stand up for change. Their heroism ignited a movement that lives on in legend. Though an outlaw, Robin Hood's moral code aligned with higher principles of justice and equality. His core values guided all his deeds, motivating him to provide value to those in need. Like Robin Hood, we can all live our values every day. Now let's explore some key principles to cultivate for well-being and purpose. One of the highest moral principles in being truthful. It entails never manipulating other people and always acting in their best interests. Self-awareness and the humility to admit when we've done something wrong are important parts of being honest. Failure to take responsibility for one's action can have serious consequences. Alex showed honesty like the legendary Robin Hood, admitting to himself that his unfulfilling job misaligned with his values. This self-awareness allowed Alex to change course, staying true to his evolving moral code despite challenges. One definition of responsibility is dependability. Being responsible for one's action and accepting blame for one's errors is also part of this. Being responsible means always following through on one's commitments. We also avoid harming other individuals in our interactions with them. Alex displayed responsibility for volunteering at a local nonprofit, showing his dependability and commitment to his values. The capacity to overcome fear and act is a hallmark of courage. Being courageous is fighting for what we believe in, despite difficult circumstances. Bravery does not imply an absence of fear. It signifies that we can do the right thing even when we are scared. Robin Hood displayed immense courage by standing up to the corrupt sheriff of Nottingham and wealthy nobles who oppressed the poor. He bravely stole from the rich to provide for the less fortunate, risking capture and punishment in the service of his moral code. Robin and his band of merry men persevered in their quest for justice despite the dangers. They selflessly gave the poor a voice and a means to survive, inspiring commoners to rise against injustice. Just as Alex practiced perseverance on his journey, overcoming self-doubt and external pressures to stay true to his evolving values, Martin Luther King Jr. demonstrated courage through nonviolent protests in the face of brutal opposition, staying true to his principles. We display courage when we speak out against injustice, defend the vulnerable, or stand by our principles when it would be easier to compromise them. Everyday acts of courage might include quitting a job that compromises our ethics, confronting a friend's problematic behavior, or reporting misconduct we witness. Prominent examples are the Chinese Tiananmen Square demonstrations, the Arab Spring, and the American Civil Rights Movement all began with acts of courage. To exercise self-control is to restrain one's own impulses and feelings. The ability to control one's instincts and make the right decision is essential. When someone has self-control, their emotions don't have sway over them, and they can make decisions that are in their best interests. They can control their impulses and make decisions that benefit them and those around them. One may avoid doing everything from raging at someone for grabbing that last special edition copy of a PS5 to binge eating by learning self-control. We will learn to take no seriously and act accordingly when we know intuitively is the right response. The capacity to keep going despite difficulties is what we mean when we're discussing perseverance. It involves keeping up with something until we succeed. Perseverance is the ability to keep going despite setbacks. Alex practiced perseverance on his journey, overcoming self-doubt and external pressures. Perseverance means maintaining discipline and optimism when tackling long-term goals. Rather than giving up after failures, rejection, or plateaus, we cultivate grit to keep improving bit by bit until we achieve what we set out to accomplish. Whether training for a marathon or learning to play an instrument, perseverance pays off. Gandhi embodied patience and nonviolent resistance, persevering for decades until India finally achieved independence. His commitment to his values inspired a nation. Modesty leads to wellness in life. One of its defining characteristics is an absence of arrogance and a refusal to place oneself above another. Humble people can take both compliments and constructive criticism in stride. We may see humbleness when someone asks someone to perform something beyond their abilities. A humble person will gladly undertake the work and feel honored to assist. A modest person will not flaunt their wealth or position as an expert in their field. Compassionate people prioritize others' well-being and empathize with their challenges. Being kind and sympathetic is a part of it. Compassionate people desire to ease others' suffering. Robin Hood showed deep compassion for the poor by risking his life and liberty to provide for them, similar to how Alex demonstrated compassion by volunteering at the animal shelter. Robin's heart went out to those suffering, just as Alex's values drove him to help the rescue dogs. Compassion fosters deeper connections through understanding others' struggles. We offer compassion by listening without judgment, comforting those who are hurting and providing help in trying times. Compassion takes sensitivity to others' needs and generous actions to support them. There is a strong correlation between the ability to wait without becoming furious and the likelihood of a positive outcome. It includes regulating our emotions and not flying off the handle at the first sight of anger or disagreement. Patient people analyze before acting. Alex practiced patience each morning as he waited in line for his daily coffee, focusing on enjoying the present moment rather than stressing about the time. Being nice is caring about other people and ensuring their happiness. It entails traits like mildness, compassion, and helpfulness. Robin Hood was legendary for his kindness and compassion toward the poor and downtrodden. He generously provided food, resources, and hope to struggling common folk when corrupt officials exploited them. Many forms of generosity exist. Random acts of kindness, like paying for the person behind us in a line for coffee, involve doing something kind with no prior expectation. Consider giving some time to a local healthcare facility or senior center, or be a sympathetic ear and supportive companion to others. Having an open mind means considering alternative explanations and drawing our own conclusions. It involves being receptive to other people's perspectives, empathetic, and open to learning new things, even if they put us out of our comfort zone. Alex showed open-mindedness in questioning the societal conditioning he had accepted, opening himself to new passions and perspectives. Being receptive to new ideas requires more than passive hearing. Instead of assuming what people mean, we seek to comprehend their perspective. The progress of individuals and societies depend on their willingness to learn new concepts, even if they run counter to their existing worldviews. Some people enjoy exploring new cultures and trying unfamiliar foods. Although they hold certain political opinions, they are prepared to consider the possibility that someone may view differently the same topic. Looking back, Alex sees his journey to live out his values was not always easy, full of setbacks and second guessing, but the twists and turns help clarify what he cares about most. By persevering through self-doubt, Alex found purpose, proving it's never too late to shape a value-driven life. Like the legendary Robin Hood, Alex stayed true to his moral code despite challenges that arose. Robin Hood was driven by his core values to stand up for the poor and oppressed. Although an outlaw, he allowed his principles to guide him in generously providing value to those in need. Likewise, we all have the power to enrich our lives and society when our values shape our deeds. It begins with looking within to clarify what matters most. Then those values become guiding lights for adding value to the world. Alex and Robin illustrate the ripple effect of living by your values. What will your values inspire you to contribute to the world? Discover your Sherwood forest and radiate your values to the world. As Dr. Seuss reminds us, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not.